Hey guys, like I said to you before, I was going to release a blog around some of the different issues that I face, that I have faced and on a daily basis, and some things I've pretty much overcome. And over the coming weeks you'll hear me speak about body dysmorphic disorder. You'll also hear me speak about dyslexia. You'll think also I'd like to be able to talk about the bullying that I went through when I was a kid and how I've overcome that over the years. And also anxiety, which is something I'm going to be talking to you about today. And also the LGBTQ community around me being as a gay man and how I handled that really. But most importantly today, so many people have asked me through Messenger and Instagram around how do I deal with my anxiety and how have I dealt with it. I've only recently, over the last probably 18 months, suffered from anxiety through a bad experience, and not every single person suffers anxiety through the same experience, obviously, and they suffer it differently and different things affect them. I think one of the key things is understanding your triggers. And one person said to me when they were suffering from anxiety that you had to understand those triggers, and those triggers I couldn't understand, and then ultimately one day I started to understand what they were, and I don't know how. It's because they come to the forefront of my mind, and they come to the forefront of my mind, and I suddenly realised that it can be as simple as the fact of your own health. It could be the fact you're not looking after yourself properly, you're not sleeping well enough, you're not potentially hydrated, you're not eating properly, you're not eating the correct foods, and those are the things that I found with my triggers. But also heat was another thing. So today I'm sitting in this beautiful weather, and heat was a massive thing for me that also made me certainly have panic attacks when I had them. And talking about panic attacks, I'm going to show you a video in a short bit around one of my panic attacks, and what you'll see in this video is just the beginning of an attack that then happened that I couldn't film no more, and because all you would have seen me was get out of the car. And when I got out of the car, I ran into a motorway, a busy motorway, because I didn't know what a panic attack was. And that panic attack simply made me feel that my heart was crushed, my lungs were absolutely tampered on and stamped on until I couldn't breathe no more. And a car stopped, and it was actually an undercover policeman who was able to help me and start to realise quite quickly what I was going through, and it was a panic attack. 4 hours the ambulance crew tried to calm me down by the side of the road. They didn't need to take me to hospital, they knew exactly what was going on, but I didn't. They taught me breathing techniques and how I needed to deal with it and understand it. They were absolutely the most amazing, incredible crew that I could possibly ever ask for. They were able to help me understand what it does to you and how it makes you feel, but ultimately how to then try and overcome it and how to prevent them. And that's something I'll probably talk about later on, around how to prevent those panic attacks and anxiety. But here's a short clip of a bit around me starting to go through this panic attack. It doesn't seem anything too untoward and too bad, and you think I'm just breathing heavy, but mentally inside you are starting to panic quite severely, because you actually feel like someone has gone like that to your neck, your heart is crushed, your lungs are stamped on. So check it out.
Hey.
saw that video, it clarifies a bit around maybe some of you what you go through. And for weeks and months I suffered from these attacks, and it was only when I started to realise and when anxiety set in, feeling lonely, feeling very insular, feeling stressed inside, not being able to cope with the stress. Everyone, like I said, has these instances that may bring on this anxiety at some point. And mine was a very stressful time back then, that gave me, which was an incident that potentially, without going into depth, I experienced such an episode that I would never like to repeat again in my life, that something happened to me. And I don't need to talk about that because I've accepted that and I've embraced that, and I've gone, do you know what? I've already dealt with that. Doctors are very good at being able to advise you around counselling, which I highly would recommend. They advise you around medication, maybe able to help you for the short term, to help you through your situation and be able to talk. One thing I'll always say to you is my biggest secret is talking. And one thing I did from the moment this incident happened to me, I was talking to people every single day about what happened to me. It was embracing it. It was trying to see how I would never allow this to happen to me again. But most importantly, someone came into my life who I was telling this about because I was talking to them. And they gave me something a doctor has never ever spoken to me about before. And it was a tool. And there's many different tools that I've got. And I'm going to talk to them over the weeks as well with my blogs. But one of them is I'm going to share to you today onto my actual page. I'm not going to read it out to you because ultimately, the reason I don't read it out to you is because it's personal to every single person. It's about resilience, and it's about you knowing the fact that you have been through this before. And these are some of the words that are in this metaphor. This metaphor you read out to yourself, and if it helps, to someone else while you're there. Someone gave me that, and as I was suffering my attacks and also my anxiety, what I couldn't do was read it, because at the beginning of that made me relive the situation that I was having these attacks and these anxiety through. It was just bringing it all back to me. I suddenly one day text a friend of mine to say I was having this attack, and they're the ones who gave me this metaphor, and they went, go and get that metaphor. And I went and got that metaphor, and they said, read it out to me. And I started reading it, and I got to the first 3 lines, and I was absolutely crying my eyes out. It was very upsetting. Even to this day, even though I embraced what's happened to me, it's still brings a bit of tears to my eye. And do you know why it brings tears to my eye when I think about that metaphor? It's because actually it helped me, it made me more positive, and even at the time I didn't think it would. I think of it now as it's given me the resilience to be a strong person, and it brings tears to my eyes to know that helped me. Not anymore that I thought. At the time I was bringing tears to my eyes because it kept bringing back the bad memories of what happened to me. And this is about resilience. It's about knowing the fact that you are going to be okay, and you're stronger than you actually think you are, and it's training your brain again. It sounds ridiculous, but it's about training your brain again. And that anxiety can be beaten, and it can be beaten by your own brain, by your own thinking, and it's believing in yourself. And one thing you'll also hear from me is 2 words, and it's being brave and it's being fierce. And that fierce is with a clause, and you'll see from my logo. It's clear it's being fierce, and I love that word because we are fierce in life. So that metaphor I will share with you today, and then I hope it's a brilliant tool for you. It takes guts to read it without absolutely being emotional, and I would encourage you to say it out to a friend. Also, lastly, one point I will say to you is the first time I read it and I got to those 3 lines, my friend kept on saying to me, keep reading. And I kept reading, and I read it out to him 10 times repeatedly. And each time it got easier and easier and easier. And one thing I absolutely loved and embraced was the fact by the end of it, my anxiety had disappeared. My panic attack had gone. and it's just a simple A4 piece of paper with some words on it. That saying is something that worked for me. I'm not going to say it's worked for everyone. Anxiety, like I said, could be brought on from the smallest things that can be the biggest things for people, but could also be the huge things. And unfortunately, those huge things could be someone being attacked, could be someone being, unfortunately, being in a bad situation at work, could be the fact it could be a family error, some sort of family personal circumstance, or it could just naturally be something that's in the genetic side of things. But until you start to grasp it in yourself, to be able to go, do you know what, I'm stronger than this. I'm not going to let this mental health issue in my brain, which this is what my thinking was I was not going to allow this to happen. And I was not going to let this beat me, because since I was born all up until I was 33, I was a strong person, I was independent, I was motivated. And then all of a sudden, 3 years I had a very difficult time, including the incident that happened to me last year, had brought this fruition and brought me into a world that I never thought I'd be in. I saw myself as weak. I saw myself that I wouldn't be able to be who I was in the past. And all of a sudden, 18 months later, I'm able to talk to you guys, and my main purpose is to help you guys. So, like I said, be brave, guys, be fierce, and I will see you soon. And I'll tell you the next tool around anxiety next week. And I'm then going to start talking around things like how to handle bullying, especially if your children are bullied in school, and ultimately if you're bullied in the workplace, and how you can handle that, how you can deal with that, and how you can do that in the most professional manner. But also, you shouldn't be victimised yourself, you shouldn't be discriminated, especially for your own sexuality as a gay man myself. And also, I'm going to be talking to you around my own personal issues that I've had to deal with my own mental health, and that's not anxiety. I've never suffered from depression, but body dysmorphic disorder is quite poignant out there at the moment, and I've suffered that from a very young age, and I'm going to be able to hopefully help you understand how I've dealt with that and how I have built on that and become quite strong in myself. So take care, guys, and be brave, and I hope the metaphor helps you, because it certainly did me. Be fierce.